There we go. All right, guys. I'm trying something new here. Um, if any of you watch YouTube astrologers, there's so many of them on there, and they get a lot of traction. And so I'm more of a writer and I express myself better when I'm writing down versus speaking. So we're going to try something new here. I'm going to try to freelance this. I have nothing written down, and we're just going to talk about the astrology of the month that's coming up. I actually created an event chart for today, but we will go into September and we'll talk a little bit about August since I was in Facebook jail, as always. And I took a long, actually, I was in Facebook jail July, and then August, I took a break. Um, Sometimes it becomes overwhelming, all the effort that I give with my personal business that I created and not getting the traction that I desire because I'm constantly censored or blocked. So we're going to try to do these instead of post, I'm going to do it this way so that I don't get censored too much. Um, and I'm not going to shy away from doing Facebook posting because I really, like I said, I like to express myself through writing. But I'm going to try to pick up something different, which is this, because here we go. I hate doing video like this. Um, I like the camera when I'm like modeling or dancing. When it comes to speaking, it's not really my strong suit. I have Chiron and Gemini. So for those of you that are familiar with astrology, Chiron and Gemini is, oh, and I also have Cassandra and Gemini, the asteroid Cassandra. So having these two asteroids in the sign of Gemini that deals with communication and talking and expressing, both of those asteroids cause issues with being able to felt heard, my information falling on deaf ears, being silenced, being shunned, and my Chiron being here triggers my childhood wounding because my family loved to silence me. I was the black sheep, or what you call the scapegoat, because I didn't have a filter, and I always said uncomfortable things when I wasn't supposed to or shouldn't have. In in that time, as we all know, 80s and 90s babies, we were coming from the 60s and 70s adults who were taught that kids weren't seen and weren't supposed to be speaking up. And so in this time, in our era now, that's changing drastically. We're seeing so many people speak up for children. And, it's not by coincidence. We have Jupiter and Gemini right now. So here it is. I am being as vulnerable as I can and I'm just going to cut my head out. Going to do the astrology like this for the month. So let me go ahead and share screen so that you guys could at least see the chart that I created. Let me hope I do this right. I'm on a new Apple computer and I am not used to using these. Everything I did before when I would give people readings was on my desktop. So I actually have a what do you call it? Not a tablet, but um, I have a new computer that I can take with me. I'm having a brain fart right now. That's part of my Chiron and Gemini and Cassandra and Gemini. It's harder for me to express myself. And the word I was looking for is laptop. There it is. So I have a new laptop. All right, so let's look at this. This is the chart that I made here in my location, Lexington, Kentucky, 1:22 p.m. on August 22nd, 2024. That's today. And this is what the energies kind of look like right now. So where I am located, it is a Scorpio rising in this location, which is crazy because I'm Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Pluto in Scorpio. And so all my planets fall greatly in this first house here, which is probably why I've stayed in Lexington so long. Also, it being a Gemini state, it's my fourth house of home. It caters to me. It's very comfortable to me. I'm also on my Jupiter line. So I expand a lot here and I grow a lot here. Um, and sometimes I tell people that where you live is sometimes the cause of why you're not growing and getting nowhere in life. And because we are all energy and the earth is energy and we are on all these like energetic ley lines that are also energy, sometimes you just need to pivot. You just need to move and you will see the energy will shift and doors will open up for you. So in my case, I live in Lexington for quite some time now, on and off, because I always find that even though I have to work hard here because my Jupiter squares my Saturn, I reap rewards here on the long term. So I actually stayed here. I was supposed to be moving to Florida and I ended up not doing it, especially with all the like hurricanes and storms they're having and floods. It's just wasn't a good time. And if that and not having the support of my family. So anyways, let's go back to this. So over where I'm at, it is a Scorpio rising. As you guys can see, use the mouse as my cursor so that you can see what's going on here. The moon is, or the sun, sorry, this is the sun. It's currently at 0 degrees Virgo. Um, Technically, you got some astrologers saying like an hour or two from now, it's in Virgo already, guys. So happy Virgo season to you, Virgo people. The moon is over here in Aries, like I stated in my post today on Facebook, and it's conjunct the North Node. So it's very, very, everybody emotionally is feeling that energy of like, I need to pivot, I need to move into a different direction. You know, the North Node is very insatiable energy and it will continue to like aim for what it wants. It has no stomach. So the mythology behind the North Node and the South Node is the serpent. And you know, one is the head of the dragon, or sorry, the dragon, and one is the head of the dragon, one is the tail of the dragon. And, you know, the legend is that it was severed in half. And so the North Node is the head of the dragon. There is no stomach, there's no bottom. And over here, sorry, over here is where the South Node would be. I don't have it pinged here, but it looks just like this. And it would be right here exactly as well at 7 degrees in Libra. And so this is constant releasing. So if you think of like opening up a sewer plug and then just all that coming out, that's kind of what the South Node does over here in the sign of Libra. So it's been there. We're getting close to 18 months here. The nodes shift next year. And when they shift, they're going to shift into Virgo and Pisces. But right now, and for the last year and some change, we've had it in Aries and in Libra. So cardinal signs have been feeling so much about releasing and letting go and finding new doors opening up for them and new directions in life. Okay. So with the moon here, today there is the sense of like, you know, in Aries, in the moon can be very aggressive, it can be very action oriented, very you know, impulsive and very risk taking. Aries is the nature of like going at things alone. It's a warrior sign. So the moon sitting here on this North Node, it's very, very insatiable. There is a sense of warriorness in the sky, and I felt that today with some personal things I've got going on at home. And so that's my second house of values. I am very, very like, I'm very fiery about my values at this point. But the moon is in this, with the North Node, is in this square opposite, or the square right here from Aries to Aqua. I know it looks like it's an Aqua, but even though it's at 0 degrees, it is getting ready to move into Capricorn. So September 1st, we have Pluto that's going to shift into 29 degrees Capricorn. And so this will be a full on square to the North Node. So things from the past are going to come up. All things from last year are definitely going to come back, and it's going to rear its ugly head if it's things that have residue energy that's just kind of lingering, that did not get fully cleared out. So expect things from the past to come back that you have to fully like finish up in order for you to pivot forward. In November, when Pluto goes direct, we're going to have it direct in back into Aquarius. Well, been moving back into Aquarius. And when it does, that's the release of all the stuff of last year and the last, you know, 16 years when Pluto was in Capricorn. So that storyline and our lives as we know it is going to change. Pluto coming into Aquarius is, you know, Pluto is a generational planet, and Pluto deals with transforming the generation at large. And so we're moving towards, you know, aqua energy, which is very AI and technological and advancement. Aqua is the energy of progression. It's the energy of like looking at the shit that was, you know, Saturn, Capricorn, of what was happening on an authoritative level, on a very disciplined level, and then moving it into, you know, Aquarius is actually the Uranus energy of, you know, innovativeness and moving, progressing past old dynamics and paradigms and belief systems. You know, Capricorn is the energy of systems. So we're moving Pluto back into Capricorn to clean out the rest of these systems that can no longer stand the test of time. So expect some crazy shit when it comes to, let's see, our financial system. This Pluto is very much going to trine Uranus in to Taurus. And this Uranus again is innovation, it is progression, it is quantum leaping into a different reality and vibrational frequency. So the vibrations on Earth are going to change because we are shifting completely into a new paradigm. So old systems are going to be dismantled. Pluto comes to destroy anything that cannot stand the test of time, that is outdated, that is dirty and mucky and negative. Pluto deals with the underworld. It is literally what we call Hades, hell. And so Pluto would be like the ruler of hell. And so in hell, as we know it, is more so of a state of mind or conditions of, negativity and bad things that are really just hidden behind the scenes. And so we're seeing a lot of that through our systematic our systems in general, like our presidency, as you can see, the political parties, they're being outed, all the shit that they've been doing. And then you see the changes in, everything in general. And so Taurus rules money, it rules banking and things like that, along with Scorpio. So with this being in sextile to Scorpio energy and in trying to Taurus energy, we are going to just see some massive changes when Pluto moves back into Aquarius in November when it comes to money. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. Banks are going to change. These are systems that are collapsing. We just seen, I think it was a week ago or this week maybe, that there was some banking. I don't know what exactly it was. I didn't really pay attention, but I heard and I read that there was some, collapses of banking stuff and some more issues that they have going on behind the scenes. Also, I did say earlier this year, way earlier this year, like April, June. Sorry, I said it in April, I said it in June, I said it in February. I said how Donald Trump would be, there would be an assassination attempt. There would be somebody trying to cut his head off because of the nature of where Uranus was, um, or is, I should say, it was in Algo, which is it's conjunct Algo right now. And that's his 10th house of, his visible reputation, where it's the highest point of the sky in his chart where everybody can see him. So we all got to visibly, the reputation, all the world at large got to see that there was an attempt on assassinating him. Now, I am not for either party because I understand that that is the front for what's actually happening behind the scenes. However, if we had to go with someone, I would more than likely go with Trump. I don't agree with some of the abortion laws because I am huge with like autonomy and freedom, but these are kinks that we could work out later. But the side of Kamala, and like I told you guys, we were going to see a woman presidency, and we technically have a woman in presidency because Biden stepped down. So if you get technical, we have a woman in president right now. She's taken as vice president, she has stepped up, and now she's running. And so I do see astrologically that there is going to be some delays with the elections for some reason, and I can't help feel that it might be some type of pandemic again. I've said that in my post earlier. I said that earlier this year that when we move closer to 2026, the end of 2025, 2026, we're getting ready to move into all air and fire signs. And that is the nature of what brings on, disease at large or pandemics or epidemics, because we saw this same configurations, not quite, but very similar when we had COVID situation happen in those lockdowns. So fun times, guys. Um, do I project Kamala winning? I don't know. I think Vance is going to stay as Trump's running mate. I don't. I see that potentially for some reason, he doesn't end up being his running mate, and maybe I said it before in my post on Facebook, but Tulsi Gabbard could potentially step in, and then we will have woman to woman, at the elections for some reason, which would be really cool to see two women go at it. um, but we are moving into a time of women rulership now, and I know there's a lot of guys fighting this. I mean, if you go on to these red pill sites and Instagrams, and like it's ridiculous the amount of males that are having a hard time relinquishing their power. They don't understand the times, and people don't read energy. So if you don't read the energy, you aren't going to understand the era that we are moving into. Aquarius is it favors women. Aquarius energy favors women. It also favors the disenfranchised. It favors the people that are, lost within the cracks and lost, people that are kind of the lost in society. It favors the underdogs. It favors, the Black community. It favors a lot of like I said, the disenfranchised. But women, regardless if men want to accept it or not, we have been disenfranchised. We were kept out of major philosophical circles, medical, educational programs. We were kept out of political circles. We were kept out of so many things, and we didn't get to have a say or input. And now we're seeing the result of that. I mean, chaos everywhere. There's war. There is so much chaos because of the ego driven aspect of male leadership. Now, this is not to say men aren't good leaders, but like, let's be real. Where has it got us? So, the age of Aquarius is more so about community. And this energy is going to benefit women because of this Pluto in trine to Uranus in a feminine sign. All right. So, Taurus is very female. It's a feminine energy. It's earth and it's fixed. So with Uranus here, it's a liberation. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and so Aquarius deals with liberating the people that are being, held down, held back, limited, restricted. Because again, it being ruled by Saturn traditionally, now it's ruled by Uranus in modern times. It's basically showing the state of consciousness has evolved from restriction to limitation. Saturn to Uranus energy of leaping into a different quantum reality and being free. So this is the energy of freedom. And so for the freedom that we are looking to obtain, it's obviously going to be a fight, guys. I mean, nothing comes easy, right? And especially when you're asking or not asking, but you're seeing the rise of women. Of course, people are going to fight that. We're indoctrinated to think that women shouldn't have power, shouldn't speak up, shouldn't say anything. For the last 20 years, we've seen the rise of women actually stepping into positions of power. We're able, just I think it was what, like 50th anniversary of actually being able to have a bank account as a woman. That's crazy. That's insanity. So the more and more liberation that we see, the more and more you're going to see women stepping into their autonomy and their positions of power. And there's some fragile ego driven men that aren't going to like this. And the elitist people, it's their time is up. Their time is up and they know it. So they're fighting as hard as they can to keep their positions in power and continue doing what they do with money, hoarding it. And unfortunately, I believe AI is also helping to free us. As much as that sounds crazy, even if there's a programmer, AI is becoming sentient, it's becoming smart. So AI is going to be here to help, bring us out of some of these oppressive energies that we've been experiencing for millennia. All right, so let's go back to this chart. I want to talk about this T square I see here. So Venus, right? Venus has been over there in Virgo for a while now, a couple weeks. And Venus doesn't like to be in Virgo. She is actually at her best in her cross house sign, Pisces. She's exalted here. This is when she's at her best because in Pisces, it's unconditional love and it just mends very well. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, and both deal with love and beauty. So when you have that energy in Pisces, it's at its best. It shines at its most powerful position and energy that it can, its frequency. So when you have it in the opposite sign, it's the furthest away from its home kingdom, and it's over here in Virgo in exile. She has no idea how to function in Virgo, and so a lot of people that have Virgo, Venus Virgo, they have a hard time with love. They have a harder time with communal energy. They have a harder time with meeting of the minds. They have a harder time with cooperation and partnerships and money and aesthetics and beauty. And actually, with a Venus in fall, like say if you have that in your zodiac sign, this energy tends to be such a harsh energy that the native, if they desire, they can actually master it. So these people can tend to become masters of said things if they actually put the will towards it. So that doesn't come by default. And so, there's a lot of misconceptions that, oh, Venus in Virgo actually does love better or is about beauty at its highest. They master this energy. Yeah, yes, and no. They can master it, but this is all we all have free will. So it's all about, do you have the free will and the capacity to see where your downfall is? Are you going to take that serious and are you going to project that energy inward to work towards it? And so that's the nature of whenever planets are in their detriment or in their fall, you have it's up to you. It's up to you to actually take that energy and work through it to bring it to its highest expression, or you're going to go through the rest of your life with that part of your area of your life just being shit. So with Venus over there in Virgo right here, she's been sitting over here trying to, find ways to get cooperation. And, Virgo's very observant energy. It's not going to miss details. It wants to make everything perfect. And so Venus is struggling over here because in reality, nothing's perfect, not even love. So it's all about accepting people unconditionally or situations unconditionally. But Virgo has a hard time with that because it wants it to be perfect, and things aren't always what they seem. And to Virgo, you might not ever even meet their expectations ever because they're not rooted in realistic concepts. They're more so driven by, being very analytical. And when it comes to love, there's no way to analyze, like be analytical with it. You can't be analytical with love. Love is not something that you can contain or control. It just happens. When you meet someone, you're like, oh, I'm in love. Like it's just a, oh, I'm in love. Like I didn't even expect that to happen. It kind of hits you like a fucking truck, right? I hope I can cuss on here. So, anyways, with it being at 21 degrees today, it's in this opposition, about 8 degree orb to Neptune. And Neptune can deal with deception. It can deal with like an iceberg, but Neptune is retrograde at the moment. So retrograded Neptune is actually in a good position because the veil is lifted. So Venus in opposition to Neptune, it's like even if you want to be deceptive in the areas of love, cooperation, relationships, business, partnerships, lawyer, things like that, um, Neptune isn't going to allow it because it doesn't have the blinders on right now. So um, that can be pretty intense dealing with reality. Um, and with it being Venus, it's really dealing with the realities of financial situations. This isn't a sextile to Uranus right now, as you see. So blue lines mean, sorry, it's in a trine. Blue lines and can represent sextiles or they can represent trines, okay? And the red lines represent oppositions or squares. So Venus and Uranus are in this trine right now, and they will be for a couple days. And so the energy of money, financial systems, they're going to get this upgrade with a Uranian flare. And again, if Uranian is technology and Uranus is, progression and leaping into different paradigms, this is what the universe is asking of everybody collectively is to change the way that you see love, change the way that you see cooperation, change the way that you see partnerships. And it's asking for more freedom in them because Uranus is about freedom. Uranus rules a rebellious sign, Aquarius. It's not going to submit. It's not going to do things the old way. It wants to find new ways to do things. And so this is the energy. We have a trine 120-degree angle that is allowing for this energy to express itself in a new way. It's very much cooperating with each other. So with that being said, and having Pluto still at 0 degrees in Aquarius and Uranus ruling it, we can definitely hear about some new technology coming for finances. We can hear some new things coming in, shifting the way, again, how we do partnerships of all kinds, even in business. Virgo rules the health system. So I can't help but think, especially Pisces as well, with Neptune here, I can't help but think maybe some new health systems are getting ready to be brought into our awareness. Some new type of health systems or health machines or some new technology that can help us in that sense. Um, Also, with this, I saw a video of some countries in Africa that are dealing with the mpox, and they are limited on vaccinations and health and stuff like that. Of course, I hate the word conspiracy theorist because every single conspiracy has been proven to be right. So I am what's the word? I'm a discerning person. And so being aware that Gates has these programs, like he's obviously doing things over there. Africa is a testing ground. I'm just going to go on and say it. Um, and so we're seeing a lot of that. Pisces deals with infections and diseases that we can't see, and Pisces is the ocean. So we're seeing this develop overseas right now, especially with the veil being lifted and Neptune is not being hidden from us. Saturn is limitations and restrictions. As it gets closer towards Neptune, this is the energy of like limiting our ability to move around from ocean to ocean, coast to coast. Um, and maybe limitations towards the water or issues in the water. So, we've been seeing that all year for the last year and a half, problems with, water of all kinds. And I mean, I wouldn't doubt if with Venus in its fall, if it's some type of disease that we deal with on a water level, maybe, or a virus on a water level that doesn't even, it's not even airborne at this point. This time it's going to be in the water. So, just be mindful of that, pay attention, look out for, filter your water if you can. So now we have the sun moving into Virgo as of today. And Virgo rules the intestines. It rules digesting and removing all the toxic waste in the body. And so on a spiritual level, it's about removing all the toxic shit in one's life. And on a collective level, on the toxic shit in the world. Um, Virgo also is harvest season. So, we've been planting seeds all year. And, from a year from now, from last harvest season to about 6 months ago when we were planting these seeds, now we have to look at where, what are you reaping? Because this is where our rewards are about to come in. Every year, September, October, November is where we start to get sick because it's where we're moving into Virgo. It rules over health. This is where all, the weather is changing. It's harvest season, and we're moving into, on a astrotheology level, we are moving into the underworld now. This is where death and decay start to happen. Virgo is about the harvest, and then Libra is where, in Vedic astrology, Libra is where death actually occurs, and Scorpio is the mucky shit that happens. Like, you'll have a death happen, and then the body will rot. That's would be Scorpio. And then it transforms into its next phase on an alchemical level. So this is what we are moving into on a seasonal level. We're moving into our next phase. And it's like right on time because in September we have eclipses. We have our first eclipse in Pisces. It's a partial lunar eclipse. And I'm a Pisces rising, so Pisces sun, rising, and moon, we're going to feel it the most. Mutable signs, period, are going to feel it. So, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, this is very transformational and very pivotal for you. Eclipses are fated moments where things get, they get taken out of your life or they get brought into your life. And they're not by your will or your hand. They're just happening per the energies of the universe. So they're fated. And so this is the first, I want to say, example, our first insight into what the year is going to look like in 2025 this month of September, because the eclipses are, this first Pisces lunar eclipse is tied to the eclipses and the nodes changes that start next year in 2025. So you're going to get a preview of what next year's going to look like for you this September. So September is quite intense, especially with Pluto moving into, Capricorn the 1st of September. And I think on the second, is it the second? Let me pull up my notes 1 second. I believe it's the second, guys, that we move. Um, yeah, the second, Mars will square Neptune. So where's Mars right now? Mars is in Gemini. It's at 21 degrees. So it's already in a square, but it's a really wide orb. And since it's a personal planet to a outer planet, we don't really consider this a square just yet. It's not tight enough to be felt. But this is going to be squared on the 1st of September. So we have a few days, and it's going to be squared exact. And so in the sign of Gemini, Mars in Gemini is, I mean, it's sextile, it's a sign that it rules. So it rules Aries. Um, but it's so close to Jupiter that it is expanding the energy of like war, the energy of warring with your mouth, talking shit, fighting, masculine energy. And so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of combativeness in this guy. There's a lot of ego because both Mars and Jupiter deal with ego. So does the sun. So, just in different formats. So we're seeing a lot of ego be projected out. And in this square to Neptune, there's a lot of deception, even if there is the veil lifted right now. There's this energy of trying to learn how to integrate the intangible in a tangible world, and it's a power struggle because this is not an easy thing for the masculine in general, and some low vibrational women who don't know how to operate in their, what's the word I'm looking for, their higher nature, which would be feminine. So we're seeing a lot of that. I With this square, United States of America is a Sagittarius rising. So the opposite sign of our rising sign here in the States is Gemini in the seventh house of open enemies. So when I see Jupiter here inflating this and Mars in here, which is war, with the moon on the north node right now, and we still have Chiron and Aries. I mean, with this squaring an ocean sign with Saturn and Pisces and Neptune, I can't help if to hear of some type of fighting or war or bombs or things like that. I hate to say that, but that could bring that energy in. We could start hearing more about war on our soil, unfortunately, because this affects us directly, being, directly opposing United States rising sign. So that's not fun. And it squares our fourth house of home. Um, so is that, let me see. Yeah, which is Pisces. So that in itself is already an issue because we have Saturn in the fourth house of home for America's astrology chart. And we've been feeling that restriction, that limitation here by the authoritative figures in society. We have been seeing the limitations with unconditional love. I mean, we've been seeing nothing but chaos. Every you open the news and all you see is it's literally like a movie. The best movie I've ever seen is the United States, or not even the United States, the world stage. Like you can't get better than this. Steven Spielberg couldn't make a better movie than what's happening here in reality. So, especially in America, we have a lot of disinformation. There's a lot of covering up. People are still falling into the political mess. And at the end of the day, none of that really matters because it's a banker war. It's higher up, guys. It's not Trump or Kamala. It's not any of that shit. But I have to say that Kamala does a good job, or that side, the Democrats, they do a great job at using rappers and music, and next they're gonna have a barbecue, like to get the black votes. And if this offends somebody, I don't give a shit. Enjoy. But it's time to come to reality because it's not okay. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if something happens that delays the elections. Like I said before, we're gonna see some restrictions here to America, guys. Get ready. This fall isn't fun. Um, and I've been on point. I've been on point on everything. I told you guys we're gonna have a female president. Do I think it's Kamala? I don't know. It could be another woman. It could be that, Trump for some reason gets rid of Vance and gets a female running mate. It would make more sense. It would actually help his political stance, but he needs a better astrologer. All right. So, anyways, we have Mercury also in retrograde in Leo, and Mercury's getting ready to go direct. Let me see. When does Mercury go direct? I think it's the end of this month. Um, Let me check my notes. Mercury, I believe, goes direct. I know we have another retrograde in Mercury November 25th when it hits into Sag, because this is a fire elemental year. So we have one more retrograde this year in November. And that retrograde will go direct December 15th. But for the one for September, I believe, no, I think it's actually August. So it's the end of this month. It's give you the exact date right now. The 4th. No, that's the retrograde on the 4th. It was in shadow. And it had its Kazemi on the 18th a few days ago. So it stations direct on the 28th of this month. I was correct. And we're still going to be in the shadow period for like a week from the 28th. So you're still going to feel the Mercury retrograde the first week of September. And it's in Leo. It started in Virgo, but it moved into Leo. So it's a fire elemental year. So these planets move in orbits and they move in cycles. So if you can learn the cycles, you can start to understand the language of energy and astrology. With Mercury going direct during this time, we can see that's actually Donald Trump rising sign. And so we're going to hear some more of him communicating and actually coming out bolder. He's been kind of retracking and fixing some things behind the scenes from what it looks like with this energy. And it rules, Mercury rules his sun sign. And it rules and that's his 11th house of the people and the community. So we're going to hear some stuff about him. It's coming this September. And I'm not sure, he's going to announce something. What it is, this is in a beautiful sextile with Jupiter and Mars. So, he could be announcing that he cuts out Vance for that, and gets someone else to be his running mate, or he cuts out of it totally. So hopefully it's not Vance and Kamala, because Vance will not win. Let's be real. We have a grand trine in the sky. We have Pluto, Venus, and well, yeah, Pluto, Venus, and Uranus, because Pluto's getting ready to move into Capricorn. So this trine will be a little bit more full on as like about a week or two from now. But this grand trine really is pushing towards changes on an earth level, because it's in earth signs. And it's got a little bit of air right there with that 0 degree Pluto. So it's a transformation on an intellect level, on a thinking level, on an idealistic level on this earth. How can we bring in these changes onto this earth? And it's going to be growing pains. Pluto's about pains. It's about facing things raw that can be uncomfortable. And this being the underworld, we're still going to be facing some more truths in society that are going to definitely bother some people. Let's be real. Can't make everybody happy. So this T square, right? Let's go back to that. We have the T square to Jupiter and Mars, and it's hitting to Neptune and to Venus. So there's so much with dealing with, Mars is the masculine energy, Venus is the female and feminine energy, and so you can say that these are male and female in society. With Jupiter there, it's imploding the king of the god energy. Jupiter is the king of the gods. It does not want to relinquish its power. In mythology, Jupiter was Zeus, and let's be real, Zeus had his ways of doing things was, he was a great gifter. He was a great giver. He was a king. He took over the throne for his father after they exiled their father out. But the downside of Jupiter is being excessive, having a god complex, having a very huge ego. The excess of it could be like how Zeus had multiple wives and so many moons in its orbit because it has so many children and so many wives. That's what the asteroid belt is. So this is showing that this T square is asking for a change and a shift to this Martian masculine energy. But there's still some delulu with Neptune over here, have causing that inability to face what's real and what's true. But the thing is, with this 29-degree Neptune, it's critical and the veil is up. So it's not like they can't see what's going on. It is all just being opposed to the feminine. Like it's this power struggle with, being accountable and, being meticulous and being very concise and, getting your shit done. Unknown caller. It can seem quite service oriented. Let me pause this real quick, guys, because I need to take this call. Give me 1 second. It's definitely Aries moon because my daughter's having issues. She's an Aries sun. All right, I just want to read this to you guys real quick that I just seen. FDA approves updated COVID-19 vaccines for Moderna and Pfizer BioNTech ahead of fall season. So they're already starting their shenanigans. So good luck with guys, because I'm telling you here first, we're going through some other cycle of some bullshit again. They're already trying to, use scare tactics in the news about, this COVID vaccine stuff. And, I'm going to be frank, the only people that I see that got sick since this vaccination process are people that are vaccinated. I'm going to be frank. The people that are vaccinated have had COVID 100 times since then. I keep seeing it, all my friends, everybody. And people that are around people that have COVID vaccines are getting sick as well. It's not by coincidence that all last year, as soon as I pulled my kids out of school, so I homeschooled my children last year since the day of Halloween. And my kids, when they started going to school, August, September, October, they kept getting sick. I pulled my kids out. There was not one time last year that my children got sick at all, or this year. They're back in school again. I can guarantee my children are going to get sick again. Why? Because the vaccinated people, they shed. They're not going to tell you this stuff. They don't want you guys to know this stuff. But that is the truth. So when they're sitting here saying, "Oh, it's the people that aren't vaccinated," how can we pass something around that's not in our bodies? They have the nanoparticle of that variant in their bodies. Of course, it's going to flare out. And when you flares up, you're going to shed. I mean, this is common sense and this is biology. It's not that hard to figure out. But, people don't like to be honest. All right, let me minimize this so that I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. I'm so sorry, guys. I do not know how to work this damn thing. There we go. Okay, and then I need to close this one out. All right, here's my cursor back on here. So we talked a lot about that. I'll elaborate more today on post because I do so much better with writing when I gather all my thoughts and my notes and I'm able to really put stuff into words on paper. So I will elaborate more on this on a more deeper level. But September is pretty crazy, guys. Every month has been crazy. It seems like up until up until now. On the 3rd of September, Venus will be moving into Libra. At this point, she'll already be in Libra, and this is where she is in her home state. She loves to be in Libra. This is her sign. She's in domicile. She's at home. She's comfortable. So she's visiting her home at this point, and This is where we can see some cooperation. Israel is a Libra rising, so we can see Israel have working towards maybe some peace treaties. Venus rules peace treaties, and when it's in its domicile, it can, it can exert its energy out a lot better. Um, so on the third, it will be conjunct the South Node um, at 7 degrees, and 7 degrees is partnership. So, what is it that Israel and potentially the United States can come to some common grounds and bring some sense of peace, or even Israel and, those countries that are actually warring out right now, maybe they can come to some peace treaties. So this is what I'm hoping for in September. Um, when Venus moves at this degree, it will be, let me see, it will be in square to Pluto, unfortunately. Not a full on square, it will be a whole house square. So sign to sign. So sign to sign square. As towards the end of September, when Venus does get closer to that 29 degree and closer to that square to Pluto, this is where we're going to see some difficulties with, Pluto is potentially like, it's the underworld. So it's negative. It can be negative energy. It could be revealing of something of some sorts, but it's a power struggle. So because it's going to be in a system sign, it's almost like a revealing to some of these systems. But there's going to be some fight to try to keep it under wraps because Pluto likes to, keep things secret, but it's in retrograde. So when it's in retrograde, it kind of lets it all out. It's going to air it all out. And then I think Venus also goes, let me see. I think I'm almost sure that Venus goes retrograde. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. She might not even do it this year. I think it's every 18 months, so it could be next year. Yeah. So next year she's going to go retrograde over these energies, and we're definitely going to see some of the stuff that they implement now come back to the forefront in the media next year. Um, so, um, trying to think what else I can elaborate for you guys about this. Um, we know next year Uranus moves into Gemini, so we're going to see major change with education systems. I don't I this is why I feel like the kids will be back remote. We'll be on some form of, hopefully not a lockdown. Gosh, I'm praying we don't, but some type of restriction or limitations, or even just maybe new technologies that are being utilized in the schools when it comes to, AI or anything digital, because Uranus and Gemini is going to bring in some new ways to communicate. Um, and even on a transportation level, we're going to see changes on a transportation level as well. I'm really hoping that we don't see more restrictions, but sometimes the darker side of Aquarius energy is restriction and limitation. So Aquarius is all good and dandy when it's about your Uranian energies, freedom, detachment, uh, non-judgment. But the dark side of Aquarius is restricting and limiting, and it's the nature of Saturn. It could be a totalitarian type of energy as well. So I'm hoping that that's not what we start to see next year because of this fight that we have. On a spiritual level, this is a fight bigger than us, guys. This is the fight from higher beings, higher sources, fighting to keep the power on this earth, and that's changing. So we have till 2030 before we see that change. And I know that there's that agenda 2030 crap that everybody's talking about. Guys, this is what they're trying to push. I'm telling you, astrologically, they're not gonna be able to make it happen. So they're trying really hard. But we're living in a realm right now that's two realities. So it's really up to you if you're gonna stay in the lower dimension and become a work and debt slave and get stuck in that paradigm. That's on you. It's your free will, or you can pivot to this other side and make yourself free. There's plenty of information to learn how to make yourself free on a physical and spiritual level. But you have to do the due diligence. No one's going to set you free. And that's probably what we are all starting to realize and learn here, is that each one needs to teach one, and each one needs to take initiative to change from the inside out because you can't change what's happening on the outside until we change what's happening in here. All right, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should tell you. We know that Jupiter stays in Gemini until, is it May of next year? I can't even remember when Jupiter went in there. It's 1 year of Jupiter in Gemini. Okay, so if you're a mutable sign, this expansion can be good for you. Jupiter does rule Sagittarius and Pisces, so in for a Pisces, Gemini, Jupiter is squaring them, but even squares in with Jupiter are the nature of positive energy. It's just a little bit of a power struggle. And for Sagittarius, though, this is in its fall. So, even though it's positive, you're going to reap some type of rewards. It's a little bit harsher for Jupiterian Sagittarius energy, where they're learning to cut out of some ways of thinking, communicating, seeing the world. All that is shifting for Sagittarius people. So, it's best not to fight it. Jupiter, Gemini dates. Okay, yeah. So there we go. So in May of 25 to June 9, 2024. Yeah. So May 25th is when Jupiter entered Gemini this year, and it's going to stay there till June 9 of 2025. So I was wrong. I said May, so June. So we have a year of, mutable signs upgrading their lives and expanding their lives and getting philosophical, changing their ideologies around their philosophies and shifting them, shifting how they communicate, how they take care of their health, how they approach health, how they approach mental health and, unconditional love and self-love, and also how they approach, their adventure, their wanderlust energy, and their higher education. So there's an expansion in this area for all of us collectively, but really lots of these changes for mutable signs. And they're under that energy until June 9th of 2025. So we are in an 8 year, and next year we're moving to a 9 year. So it's a year of completions, guys. 9 of Hearts year is 9 is completion. It's the end of a cycle. It's the end of something pivotal. And so next year is the start of some major changes, and we will see then results of this by 2030. Let me see. This Jupiter in Gemini, it favors it sextiles to, let me see, Leo. So it favors Leo. It favors it's opportunity for growth or cooperation for Leo. Same with Aries. It sextiles Aries. It trines Libra. So it's a nice flow of just luck to Libra people. It's a little wonky right now. So you got to give it time to, next year you'll start to feel it. Um, and then it is a nice trying to Aquarius people too. So, air signs can see some major rewards within the next year and years of growth and expansion. Um, this can really change a lot to do with your finances, your relationships, and your career for sure for air signs. Um, Trying to think. Trying to think of the when Jupiter will retrograde. Yeah, okay. So Jupiter's going to retrograde October 9th till February 4th of 2025. So that's a long stint. So, I mean, September is getting started for what is coming October, guys. With Jupiter going in retrograde motion, it's going to go over some things it's already, some of the degrees it's already went over. Um, and again, so children, school, communication, travel, vehicles, news, and this is Trump's sun sign. So this retrograde motion over Trump's sun, it's a little intense for him. I can't help but think, let me see, he might, this might favor him. Now, I did make a post about Trump in 2020 or 2021. I have the screenshots that Trump would probably be assassinated or get sick in 2025 and die. So, I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but I'm going to put that here in this video so that it is well known that this could be the start of that because of this retrograde motion. Um, you know, Trump is dealing with enemies right now with him being a Leo rising. He has uh Pluto in his seventh house right now at 0 degrees, and it's going to move back into his sixth house of health. So that's Capricorn for him. So there could be some health concerns. It's a routine changes for him. And in a health sign or in a health house that has to do with systems. So I'm hoping there is no like poisoning or something that could potentially happen to Trump. But you heard it here first. um, I do want to elaborate that once we get a female woman in power, I can guarantee you that there probably be no more presidency, or if there is, it will be no more masculine energy in power. It's going to be female from here on out. And it's because, some of the powers that be are looking for change and peace. And, a lot of people feel that it's women that can bring that because we are the natural peacemakers. And then there's others that are going to incite war because of it, because they are anti-women and they're incels. And there's a lot of things like that going on in society. So, you can research if you get your head out your ass and stop, looking, watching football and dumb things, you can see what's actually going on in the world. Stop, being distracted. Dig a little bit, guys. It's all information's out there. You should not be this slow bus in 2024 with information at your fingertips. Like there's no excuse. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. I hope this is a little bit of a good elaborating. I'll obviously do more videos, and I'm gonna do weeklies on my posts on Facebook to kind of help you guys get weekly energies to like know how to work through it. But I'm trying this new thing, and let's see how this works. So if you guys like this video, please like and comment when I share it and tell me what you think, okay? All right, guys.